and welcome. You're watching Explosive Exclusive. I'm Padmaja Joshi. Every day the INDIA bloc seems to be having a new quiver in its armor when it comes to their election strategy. Well, remember earlier they had made the elections just that much easier for the BJP by calling the Prime Minister a chaiwala in 2014, and it seems that's exactly the strategy that they have adopted in 2024 as well. This time on their target is Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar. Remember that viral video of TMC MP and INDIA leader Kalyan Banerjee mimicking the Vice President just outside the Parliament soon after some members of Parliament had been suspended. Now, far from being remorseful, far from being apologetic, has emerged another video of the same luminary again mimicking the Vice President, this time saying that he's behaving like a child whose sweets have been taken away. He is behaving petulantly and almost complaining about being mocked.
My spine is so straight. You, Mr. Gandhi, you must understand. You must understand that I have been appointed here only to say Narendra Modi.
শুধু কেঁদেই যাচ্ছে কেন কান্না? এটা মিমিক্রির জন্য কান্না? এটা ছোটবেলার বাচ্চা ছেলের ব্যাপার হয়ে যাবে। ছোটবেলায় করতো, এখন তো বাচ্চা করেন। আপনাদের মধ্যে অনেকের টিচার আছে নিশ্চয়, আছেন তো? ছেলেদের, বাচ্চা ছেলেদের পড়ার নিশ্চয় দেখেছে। মিস আমাকে ভাঙাচ্ছে, এই তো অভিযোগ করে। সেই বাচ্চা ছেলেদের মতো কান্নাকাটি চলছে, চলুক।
But that's not where it ended after he'd had his fill. And remember, over the last 1 week, the BJP and various farmers groups have hit the streets saying that this mimicry of the Vice President was not just an insult to the office of the VP and the chair of the Rajya Sabha alone, but also an insult to the farmers community and to the Jats, the community to which the Vice President belongs. So Kalyan Banerjee didn't just stop at Mr. Dhankhar. He then went on to train his guns at the Prime Minister, calling him arrogant and asking why he wears a suit even in winters.
চাষিরা, ভারতবর্ষের চাষিরা অর্ধেকের উপর শীতকালে একটা কম্বল জোটাতে পারেন না, আর উনি প্রতিদিন 20 লক্ষ টাকা দামি স্যুট পরে ঘুরে বেড়াচ্ছেন শীতকালে। একটা কম্বলও কোনো চাষির ঘরে যে দিয়ে আসেনি। 140 জন এমপিকে সাসপেন্ড করা মানে কি? কতজন মানুষকে আপনি ইগনোর করলেন? কতজন মানুষকে? আপনি এসে লোকসভাতে স্টেটমেন্ট দিলেন না, আপনি এসে লোকসভাতে কোনো কথা বললেন না। নরেন্দ্র মোদী, আপনি কিচ্ছু কথা বললেন না।
Now remember, over the last few months, INDIA netas from various parts of the country have decided to take it upon themselves to make life extremely difficult for their allies in other parts of the country. You already saw the example of Kalyan Banerjee. Now, I wonder how other parties who are a part of this alliance, who have a Jat vote bank, are going to answer for this repeated mocking of someone who is occupying high office from their community. Before this, of course, there was the case of Sanatan Dharm being insulted. Then very recently, an old statement of DMK leader Dayanidhi Maran was also harped on by the BJP to ask, how do parties from the Hindi heartland like the RJD, the JDU, the Samajwadi Party react to Hindi speakers being referred to as toilet cleaners? The thing is this, that all of this might be passed off as humor and mimicry by the people who say these things. But is the joke at the end of the day actually on INDIA? Is this humor for some actually turning into a tumor for the India alliance?
அருவருவாக பார்க்குற ஒரு சனாதனத்தை சொல்லணும்னா முறைப்படி ஒரு காலத்தில் தொண்ணூறு இருந்தது, இப்போ HIV இருந்தது.
Any religion which does not give you equal rights, does not treat you like humans, is not a religion. So it's as good as a disease.
இந்த இந்தியா என்பது ஒரு சனாதன கொள்கைக்கு எதிர்ப்பாக உருவாக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிற கூட்டணி தான் இந்தியா.
யூபியில ஹிந்தி மட்டும் படிக்கிறவன் தான், பீகார்ல ஹிந்தி மட்டும் படிக்கிறவன் இங்க வந்து தமிழை கத்துக்கிட்டு இன்னைக்கு நம்ம வீடு கட்டி தரான், சாலையை பிறக்கிறான், குக்கூஸ் கழுவுறான். இதுதாங்க ஹிந்தி படிச்சா நேரமே.
All right, joining us on the debate, we have Shikha Mukherjee, senior journalist, Siddharth Yadav, spokesperson of the BJP, and Pankaj Sharma, political analyst. Is this humor actually turning out to be giving tears to other allies? The latest being Mr. Kalyan Banerjee. Pankaj Sharma.
What is politics of abuse? Abuse through spoken words, doing mimicry, is surely an abuse and is, inexcusable. One can debate in length that abusing a fellow MP belonging to minority community on the floor of the House by a member of the ruling party is highly deplorable. Naming someone a Jersey cow is a very bad test. Taunting someone by saying 50 crores girlfriend is shabby. Raising "Oi Didi" slogan is dishonorable, and so on.
Agreed.
But more than this.
Agreed to all of that, sir. But tell me, what is the wisdom in doubling down on something that anyway is not very tasteful? First, you mimic an elderly person who's the Vice President of India. Then you double down and say, oh, look, he's crying like a baby. What exactly is funny in that? And more importantly, how does this benefit anyone?
No. He is not targeting the Vice President of India. Whatever he is mimicking, his mimicry is about the chairman of Rajya Sabha, about the conduct, the way of his style of functioning in the House as Rajya Sabha chairman. See, there are more serious questions. What about other abuses? More than this, we should be concerned about grave abuses, such as turning a blind eye to bloodshed in some of the poorest villages of India in the remote northeast state of Manipur for many months. Barbaric details are surfacing. Hundreds of villages destroyed, religious places and schools torched, and widespread sexual assault of women. More than 50,000 people have fled their homes.
Each one of them extremely important. Each one of them extremely important. Still doesn't take away from what Mr. Kalyan Banerjee is saying, but I'll take your point to this particular issue to Siddharth Yadav. Clearly, the TMC MP does not think that he's done anything bad and that you are just twisting his words in order to give it a casteist spin for political benefit. Siddharth Yadav.
I think, Padmaja, the test of such things, and when this will be put to the test of time and will be put for the people to judge, the people of our country already know what is right and what is wrong. You go to the steps of the temple of our democracy and you demean the second highest constitutional position of our country, and still you feel you have done nothing wrong. I think there can be nothing more wrong than that. There is no remorse. You're still making fun of the position, you are still making fun of the individual, and whatever, the attacks have not gone down. And for what? For what reason? He is not a political partisan. He is not a party to the politics that you want to go down to. The bills of national importance were to be discussed in the parliament. If he wants to bring order to the House, and if the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, the Vice President of our country, calls all floor leaders and asks them that we should draw some line at some point of our time in the maturity of our democracy, that we will object to things in a certain manner and not do that no discussions of people's welfare will happen in this House, and yet you decide that whatever may happen, we'll disrupt this House. If we go out, we'll disrespect this person. If we disrespect, we will continue the attack.
It's not limited to Kalyan Banerjee alone. Mr. Sharma, the number of examples we stated, it was bad enough that you'd had Congress party Samajwadi Party, JDU, RJD try and distance themselves from what was said about Sanatan Dharma. Now this old statement of Dayanidhi Maran, it is old, but he's made it nonetheless, where he's saying, oh, people come from the north, they speak Hindi, they clean toilets. Now you've got what Kalyan Banerjee has said. Ultimately, at the end of the day, irrespective of whether you say it today or whether you said it 5 years ago, people remember.
See, you must be watching the proceedings of both the houses of the parliament for last few years. Don't you think we are heading towards a situation of the power with impunity? This will macadamize way for the absolute abuse of power and the absolute power to abuse. The process of, injustice. This concretizing.
You are talking about something completely different. I am asking you,
it's not different.
How does a political party explain its alliance partner referring to North Indians or Hindi speakers as toilet cleaners?
No, I am talking of the mimicry part.
No, now I'm saying that all of this follows to a trend. It's basic disrespect of people and a community. Hindi speakers abused, Sanatan Dharma mocked, then you have Mr. Dhankhar being mocked. That is the trend I'm talking about.
Nobody is endorsing toilet cleaning type comments.
Like nobody endorsed the Sanatan Dharma comments also, but nonetheless they happened.
No, they happened. Then these particular person is responsible. How can you blame all the opposition for this?
I'll tell you how.
Okay, Siddharth Yadav, how can you blame entire opposition? Individuals.
I'll tell you how. Because if such a comment is made, and despite such comments, if all leaders of all political parties in that alliance still continue to decide that we'll sit on the same table, we have no objections. The politics is greater than our beliefs. Politics is greater than any ideology. And yes, you want to abuse Sanatan? Go ahead. For politics, we'll shake hands. We'll sit down together. We'll sit for seat sharing. We'll sit for how we are going to contest elections. The people of this country are watching. And mind you, you keep on abusing Sanatan Dharma. You keep on abusing Hindi speakers. You keep on abusing the highest constitutional positions. The people of country are responding to you. They'll continue to respond to you. And your politics is going to fade away with time. There is no, I would also want to say, my friend from political analyst was saying that the country is leading to political impunity. It is not.
What about the entire government sitting with Ramesh
people are not
Piduri?
electing you, and if one political party is getting that majority, if you can't digest that majority, I'm sorry, nobody can help it. The people will elect you if you do the right things.
This kind of politics is not appreciated by the people, claims the BJP. Abuse of one or the other person, or mockery of one or the other person.
Is that the question to me?
Yes, ma'am. Go on.
Okay. Two things very quickly. First and foremost is that this is an interesting narrative that is being constructed out of a political gambit by Kalyan Banerjee and taking it on as a Jat, putting an interpretation of Jat insult into it. Mallikarjun Kharge's response has, of course, been downplayed, and the BJP has not taken on the courage to respond to it. That in that sense, it is an insult to Dalits, the way in which he has been treated in the House. Having said that, let me also say I think it's marvelous to see this construction of a narrative of insults, of saying that the parties that are members of parties that are involved in these insults are actually damaging the India alliance, and that they should not, and therefore the seat sharing for exercise, which is about to take off in the India alliance, should fail because it is not respectful. And for DMK statement, the RJD, Congress, Samaja and the JDU alliance seat sharing should not work because they will come under an India label. I think, apart from the fact that this is stretching it a bit, I think it's a fascinating narrative that is now being constructed. Let me also ask, and this is something that I absolutely will ask, regardless of time, Didi was an insult to all women in India. it was a taunt. It was catcalling. It may have been in the context of the West Bengal elections, and then the BJP has a right to speak. When having talked about having done the catcalling, then the BJP actually campaigned about Mamta showing her leg.
Siddharth Yadav, the bigger fear right now is the death of democracy inside Parliament, or taunting of the kind Shikha Mukherjee is talking, and you are picking up on inconsequential things.
Madam was speaking about a narrative being built. What is surprising, rather what is funny in our democracy is, if you abuse Sanatan Dharma, if you say anything to the Hindus, that will be a narrative calling. If you say a one word to any other religion, would you dare to even? Because that would not fall under narrative building. That is going to be your death sentence. That is going to be your last call, your last statement, probably your last profession. And that narrative is not a narrative at all, madam. Secondly, you were saying about seat sharing, that we want seat sharing to fail. You abused Sanatan Dharma 3 months back. Nobody said anything, right? There was the outrage was there from the people of the country. We objected to it. You continued with your alliance. Why is your seat sharing failing now? Your partners were calling each other Chirkut, Akhilesh, Vakilesh. You have still not decided on a seat sharing. You're deciding on all inconsequential issues, but not on the main issues of seat sharing, of who your leader is going to be. Who is stopping you? Go ahead. But you cannot equate that now we are abusing Sanatan Dharma, or we'll disrespect and abuse anybody. And now you want that seat sharing should not happen. That is why this narrative is being built. This is not just narrative. It is not about votes.
Okay. Is this harmless mimicry, saying things about, say, the Vice President, or about Sanatan Dharma, or about Hindi speakers? Is it humor or is it art? Well, the people will be ultimate arbiters of that. And everyone, I think, can reach an agreement on that one point. Thanks very much, all gentlemen, Shikha Mukherjee, for joining me. Quick break.